Hey everyone, Nathan Nerdark here for Nerdarchy from Nerds by Nerds. Today we're going to be talking about RPGs and humorous RPGs.
The pros and cons.
Hey, I was getting to it.
It's so appropriate. You just totally flubbed the for Nerds by Nerds because we're talking about humor today in RPGs.
There you go.
Did I say by nerds for nerds?
You said from nerds by nerds.
Oh.
For nerds, freaking nerds. Hey, I'm Dave.
I'm Ted.
And we already know who this guy
I
is.
said I'm Nate. We got a little slap happy for this edition.
Yeah.
So pros and cons of humorous RPGs. So there's a nice, plethora out there.
Well, let's not say humorous RPGs. Let's say humor, the humor genre in RPGs. Because I only say that because you can basically slap this on any kind of game.
That's true.
Right? You can turn it into a humorous game. You can.
Yeah.
You can,
Some of
you
your
don't
players
have to
try and turn it into a humorous game.
no matter what. Yeah, Ryan's not here right now with us today, but he's good for that one. But then there is actually RPG games that have no other purpose.
Right.
I mean, they took the Munchkin card game, turned it into an RPG.
They did.
There's a game called Toon, which you're basically Looney
playing a Looney Tune.
Yeah. There's
Kobolds Ate My Baby 3rd edition, which is hysterical. I love that one. And then of course there's another favorite is Ninja Burger.
yes, where you have rivals like Pirate Burger.
Pirate Pizza.
Oh, Pirate Pizza, yeah. Oh, curse you, Pirate Pizza.
Yeah, you got to be a ninja delivering your fast food order to your customers before.
And forever we've been talking about Mutants and Masterminds running a tick style game.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That hasn't happened. So, so we did a little research, and I looked, and I even saw games like Hackmaster and Paranoia on the list for humor and satire. So
it's just really, where you're gonna, what level of humor are you looking to have in your game, and are you willing and able to let it take over your game? Now, if you're going to play a game like Toon, then you're open to all of the slapstick, all of the comedy, and it's going to be more about funny than it is about any kind of serious heroic plot thread.
It's more like following the trope of Toon.
You're essentially there to make everyone laugh all night. Like that's your goal as a player and the GM of those games.
When you're playing Kobolds Ate My Baby, you're as the DM, you're kind of looking for humorous ways to
murder the kobolds.
Similar to a Dark Sun kind of theme where you're supposed to just have a bunch of characters made so that as soon as you're dead, you can just pull out the next one, put that guy back in the bottom of your stack so that you can just rename him and use him again later. And I've played some kobold, and it's hysterical because you're out there looking for babies to eat.
I would definitely have a stack of kobolds with all the same name but with a number after it. Just because it seems appropriate.
Jethro too.
And then so there's two different kinds of humor I think you're really looking at here for the most part, and one is where the GM is kind of like his job is to kill the players and make it interesting, and which can go anything from like Splatterhouse style to Looney Tunes style.
Looney Tunes being more slapstick, Splatterhouse being more like satire of horror movies.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that's why things like Paranoia and Hackmaster make the list. Or you can go the other route where it is more like the Tick or like the Toon game where there was actually going to be a story involved, but everything's going to it's not the humor isn't coming from killing or destroying the players or anything in the game, but in just your antics. The antics are just going to be silly and goofy, and the rules are not going to apply. Let's face it. In a game where you're modeled after Looney Tunes, I can only imagine if you get run over by a steamroller, you don't die, you go flat. It only makes sense. Or you do the thing where you can paint the scene on the wall and run through, but the guy following you hits the wall.
Or, of course, you run off the cliff and you can keep going until you stop and look down, and then you fall.
And then you fall, of course.
Yeah, gravity is only applicable if you're aware of it.
So these are all things we can do. We can take our basic 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons and we can make it slapstick and silly and ridiculous. We can do it with almost any game. Like we said, we talked about, why not run a Tick game and, slap Mutants and Masterminds. AJ Pickett, on his channel, the glue stick. Oh, is that the name of it? Am I butchering it?
I'm not certain.
It's something glue stick. Sorry, AJ. But he ran a Tick game based off of Palladium. And everyone really did make up like ridiculous characters. Like SR2 Joker, Andrew Knapp played the possum. And you know, like his one ability, which he held back through the whole game, was just to play dead. he ran. I guess the villain. I think he took a motorcycle and rammed into it, blew up, and then played dead until the very end of the battle to launch like the final blow or something.
Nice.
So you know, so like you can really run the gamut. So let's look at our pros and our cons.
All right. Well, the pros. Anytime you're getting people, you know, to laugh, that's just a great thing.
Yeah, you're doing it on purpose. It's really good.
I'm
to succeed.
I love comedy. I love humor. I love laughing, and you know that's when you can get that for an entire evening, it's just awesome.
So a pro. Good times.
Definitely a pro.
Good time laughing with friends. Yeah.
The con is, you know, if you're seriously into role playing and doing a progressive story arc, it's a lot harder to run that style of game.
It's not going to be fulfilling for people that want that,
and it's harder to maintain, you know, that jovial, you know, because you're going to eventually run out of jokes. You're going to run out of puns. And it's like, all right, well, how do I keep this? You know, what's sillier? So you have to keep trying to up the ante.
And if you're doing that kind of story arc, but you're injecting some humor into it, it's the past the ridiculous scale. So basically, there's a certain point where it's become too silly, and it's no longer has any seriousness to it, or you're aggravating the one or two people that are like, hey, I want a more serious game. Yeah, that was funny, but let's not have the next encounter be even more ridiculous.
Right.
So, you know, if you're going to inject humor into just a regular game, I see that as being conflict. But when you're set out and you've said everybody, hey, we're going to do a humor game, you know,
it's your fault if you showed up.
Yeah, it's your fault if you showed up being like, yeah, I just totally have this serious character and the serious backstory.
You're ready for this immersive role-playing experience.
Unless you want to be the straight guy.
Yeah.
And when it's in that point, you should actually be having as much fun trying to stop other people from having fun as they are, you know, from getting one-upping you on that kind of thing.
The detective in Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. So
he eventually, you know, is brought around and joins the silly.
Yeah, but the issue is that, you know, taking that beyond, I mean, in Looney Tunes, it's hard to take it beyond ridiculous because, I mean, everything is kind of at that level. It starts at ridiculous and goes up, but, you know, you can have it get too wonky. Like in a Tick, I would say that's several steps back from the ridiculousness of Looney Tunes.
Yes.
So you've got that kind of like up and down.
Yeah,
around a certain level that you got to stay
more
at,
fluid.
or
like
it gets out of control.
Like when I think of the Tick, like, you know, the first image that comes to into my head is like the image where like he's trying to deal with a bomb and it explodes right in his hand, and he's got, you know, the pieces of the bomb in his hand and it's exploding backwards. You know, it's like that's what comes to my mind when I think of the Tick. You know,
not
so
Spoon. Like, I think Spoon.
You can
and not in the face.
I think of how silly it is to have a moth and a Tick be superheroes. So I think of it from the angle of
there is already Ant-Man.
Yeah, but ants can lift 50 times their body weight and stuff, right? That's like cool.
So, you know, for me, you know, I'm going to say the pro is, you know, it's a beer and pretzel kind of night. It's a one-off. No one has to, you know, there's not a whole lot of brain power that's got to be spent. You know, maybe your regular group some of your people didn't show up from your regular group. You have reduced numbers, or, you know, you're getting together with friends you don't see that often, and you just want to have a lighthearted night where, you know, you're eating pizza, drinking beer, and laughing, like you said, you know, and the con is pretty much what you said. It's like, you know, it's harder to sustain, especially like a long arcing campaign. And if you're a more serious role player, you may, you know, you may not find this kind of game fulfilling.
You can turn your nose up at it and say, this is not for me.
Yeah. But, you know, hey, you want to get in touch with your inner child and have some fun, I think it's a great night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great way to spend your night. So with that, short, sweet, to the point, you know, go out, roll some funny shaped dice, have fun, laugh at each other, tell jokes. You know, that's what that genre is all about. So let us know in the comments below what you think. Are you guys playing any of these games? Do you have a favorite? Maybe you hate it. Tell us why.
Do you have a great story?
Do you have a great story? So while you're there commenting, like, subscribe, and share.
You can check us out on Twitter.
You can also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.